It's Girl Code.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Girl Code, a guide to self-love where we discuss life, love, relationships and basically everything and anything under the sun. I'm Nicole and today we have Diana and Denise here with us today to talk about being female bosses. So let's hear all about how they've started out. So perhaps you guys would like to give an introduction about your business and what do you guys actually do?
Denise. No, I'm wondering, when you said name, is it my name?
No,
It's a business name.
Sorry, I'm so tired. I had like a couple of meetings in the morning, business
the
meetings.
name of the business and the nature of it.
Okay, so basically I'm Denise. I'm in private education, private tutor, and then I started Puzzles, which is my own tuition center. I'm actually in the midst of getting like some licensing and certifications done. So I'm super excited for that, and maybe invite me back in a couple of months and I tell you all the entire process and how difficult it was. But yeah, that's about it. And we offer math tuition lessons, but I'm thinking to expand it in a couple of years to include languages and science and tech as well, and coding.
Cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Coding too. Wow. Okay, I'm Diana and my name of business is no, I guess my brain's not working as well. But my business name is 33 Petals & Co. So what is it? The nature of business is actually a floral business. We do B2B and B2C, business to consumer and business to business flowers. Yeah.
Yep. So I guess I'm very honored to have two big female bosses with me here today. I can't speak for myself. I'm not a business owner. I'm a business employee, which is, very different. But I guess we can talk about more. I guess we can talk more about how you guys actually started your business. So what made you decide to start it? Perhaps is it something like you're pursuing your own passion, or you want quick money?
Quick money?
I think what is it?
I think when you think about businesses, everything requires capital. I don't think it's like quick money yet. No, it's like you lose a lot of money first, I guess. You can say what?
Recently, I was watching this interview with Elon Musk, and he shared something that his friend said. It was something like when you're starting, when you're working on a startup, when you're starting a business, it's like eating glass or chewing glass.
Ouch, that's
and staring into the
painful.
abyss. Yes, that was what he was trying to say. It's actually a very painful venture.
Right.
Yeah, but in the first couple of months, it's always very exciting. But then the excitement and the freshness wears off, and then all of that pain just comes in.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, but that was not the question. The question was what made you decide to
Yes,
start?
what made you decide to start your own business?
Maybe I'll start first. For me, I've always liked math. I've always liked working with children more than I like working with people my age. so for me, I think it was very natural. I always knew I wanted to go into education. It was just a matter of when. And it just happened sooner rather than later for me. Because at that point in time, I think everybody has heard this story before, but it was during the circuit breaker, so there was no school. School was basically conducted online, and there was a need for virtual classes by a lot of people, and a lot of centers were just pivoting from physical classes to a virtual one. So I think many centers or many teachers also struggled with that switch, and that's when I decided to just enter the market as well.
Right, but I think it's very good to hear that you're actually pursuing your own passion, right, as your work right now.
Yeah. For me too, it is actually a passion. So I've always known that I'm the kind of person where I like to do sales or I like business. I'm very like entrepreneurial. So my parents actually own a flower shop before this. They do it for the dead. And then we have suppliers, and I was like, why don't I do a pop-up? So back then, I used to sell my flowers for Valentine's Day on Instagram. So every Valentine's Day, I'll be like, oh, do you guys want flowers? Then I will do like a huge bunch. And I was like, wow, people actually buy, even though like it's like a small pop-up kind of thing. And then I decided, like, hey, I could do this. Then I just started it. Yeah.
Right. But can I ask you, because, starting a business is, to me, very, very scary and very risky. So that's why I went to the more conventional route of just being like an employee in a big organization. What was it that made you guys wanted to start being your own boss? Was it the autonomy or the challenge, or what was it?
I think for me, I liked the autonomy, but it was more so the challenge. I liked the challenge. I thought it was so fun. It was something that, like, it hasn't, for me, it was something that I would never try this ever again in my life. And this is such a fresh experience to really go and tackle something, right, into the unknown. So yeah, I really like the challenge. But like I said, the excitement only lasts for the first few months, and then after that, the pain start settling in. So what pushes you, right? I think it's just that grit and that tenacity. Yeah.
For me, I think back then, this was before COVID, the competition for jobs is actually very tough, especially for like fresh grads.
Right.
And for me, I was studying marketing, MBA, right? So I wanted to work for this a really huge company, and I wanted to do marketing for them. But I think a lot of people already applied, and I couldn't find a job, and I was like, what do I do? Then I slowly think that, okay, why don't I try this business out and see if it works? And yeah, I never looked back.
We're really such opposites, because I had a job. I had a job and I quit it to run this full time.
So I guess I'm in the middle. Yeah, but okay, so I think that's very interesting. But maybe you guys can share a bit more about the planning process, because maybe there are viewers out there that want to start their own business, but they don't know where to start. Like for me, I don't know where to start. Like, do I start with the financial planning? Do I have a concept first? Like, how do you actually do the planning?
I really cannot remember where I started with. I can't remember. I feel like it was just, I have this idea. Let me just jump right into it.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Mine was like
that.
no planning at all. I'm like, okay, why don't I try this? And I start small. I really start really small.
I mean, I had baby steps. So like,
Right.
okay, I'm going to put aside this amount of money. This is how I'm going to invest the money, what I'm going to buy with it. And then I also have milestones for myself. So in 1 year, what do I want to achieve? In 2 years, what must happen? If this doesn't happen, that means I'm not on track. And if I'm not on track, then maybe this is not for me. Maybe it's time for me to return to corporate. So it's kind of like a milestone for myself. It's kind
She's
of
really
a tracker.
milestone person.
Really planning, and
Yeah.
having goals. and
Mine
stuff.
was really go with the flow, because I told you how I started was actually selling on like Instagram through flowers, Valentine's Day. And then slowly people ask me, hey, do you do for this occasion, or for example Christmas? I'm like, okay, I'll do it. And then it slowly became people keep asking me, oh, do you do for this? Do you do for this? And I slowly get into the market through like giving flowers and making for them. And then it just became an everyday thing. It's like no milestones. I just literally followed and go with the flow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess like during the planning process, what was the biggest challenge that you guys faced? Was it more of, getting the capital, or more of like coming up with the concept, or, having people maybe not really trusting you guys as well? Because I mean, we're relatively young, starting a new business altogether. So I'd just like to understand a bit more about the challenges you guys faced in starting up the business.
For me, okay, shall I go first?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so for me, I learned the hard way. I used to have a business partner before this, and when I started by myself, it was like more go with the flow. But as I have a business partner, it was like a structure. You have to make sure everything is a milestone, like you said, right? The goals, and then my ex-business partner actually double-crossed me and created another company after they found out how I run things, which was really painful for me. And I think that was like a hurdle for me as a entrepreneur or as a business person.
Right.
Yeah. And then working capital and business plan, it stopped for a while because I had to start from zero.
Right.
And then I was thinking, how do I make this business better over the years? And that's when I get more structured. Not go with the flow anymore. I think you can only do that when you're small. After that, you can't anymore.
That's true.
When I first started, I think what I struggled with the most was like kind of setting up the systems and like your process flow, because I like things to be super by the book, and I like to have that book, like, okay, if this happens, this is what you should do.
Yeah.
And when it comes to systems, it was things like accounting as well. You don't have that, right? So you need to start from scratch. You need to find an appropriate one, how you're gonna run it. You kind of need to break down the system, see how it works for you as well.
Yeah.
And then jump from a few different clients to see. payment processing clients to see which will service you the best as well.
Yep.
And then when it comes to talking about systems also, because we are in education, right? EduTech, you kind of need to, we also set up an online learning platform very, very early on, because this was something that I felt if I were a student, it would be so beneficial for me. And going into tech is one of the most challenging things you can do. I'm still struggling with that. We're still trying to build like a AI type of app that can help people learn in a more gamify the learning process. So that is still something that I struggle with as of now. It's really like when it comes to proper systems, right? Running the business day to day is fine, but really breaking into a system, right? Really finding a good what is that word? Like a client solution that works for your business.
Yeah.
That is where it gets very difficult.
Yeah, and I think also because you can't replicate someone else's process for your own, right?
Exactly.
Everyone is unique. Your business, the way that it operates is unique as well. So I guess that's where the biggest challenge is. But now moving on to a more fun question. I wanted to ask about how do you guys brand your business? So you both have very, very innovative and I think very good names for your business, 33 Petals as well as Puzzles. How did you guys come up with the name?
For me, I started with the values that I wanted to capture. I wanted to make learning fun, make math fun, make it enjoyable. So then I basically took out a dictionary and I really went word by word to find which word like kind of embodies that element of fun. And then I settled on puzzle. I think it took quite a while. Actually, this wasn't my first choice.
What
there
was
was
your
quite
first
a number.
choice?
There was one. There was a wordplay on numbers. There was a wordplay on words and numbers. I really cannot remember what it was. It was like square one, like beginning from square one, I think. And we wanted to call it square one. And then I thought, whoa, that sounds very, very serious. It sounds like a very serious corporation. And then we just went to rethink it, and then eventually we came upon the word puzzles, and I loved it. Like,
I think it's a really great name. Yes.
Thank you.
But mine was 33 was my ex-partner's lucky number. 33. So after that I have to think about like what suits with 33. So that's why we went with Petals. Before this it was called BB Blumen. It is but we start with 33 Petals from
Right.
onwards.
And you also mentioned that your family initially started off to sell flowers for the dead, right? So now you guys are selling to a different target audience as well. Did that have a effect on the name change, or it was just like totally coincidental?
No, it didn't really affect me because we have a different target market, and theirs was beloved flowers. So it has nothing to do with each other. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Okay, so now let's talk about actually running the business. So a business has to start somewhere, and sometimes the start can be shaky, but it takes off eventually. So how did your first launch go, or perhaps maybe the first few months in the business, right? Was it what you expected in terms of, let's say, the amount of effort that you got to put in, as well as the amount of money that you guys generated?
Yeah, I think the effort was a lot, man. Like you have to do a lot of thinking because it's like, oh, what design do you want to put out, and what occasions? What are people doing? Are you able to meet like the demands as well? This and that. You have to keep considering about it, and it's like what Denise said. Basically, you need to know your workflow, and once you are okay, the structure is there, then it runs.
For me, it was totally unexpected. How did my first launch go? Not amazing. When we first opened for registration, and I'm just being very honest, right?
Yeah.
I don't think the registration was amazing. I think that I did put aside like a couple of slots, and I say, okay, I would like to fill up these slots by what date. And I think if I remember properly, I was worrying about it because I think I managed to fill only about 50% of the slots, and then I was thinking, oh no, like the demand is not as high as I expected it to be. And I remember then I don't know what made me think that, because I'm in social media, I should have just gone to social media. But rather than do that, I decided to market via a more traditional route. So in the education, the most traditional is to have flyers. So we printed flyers, and I remember it was a stack of 200 or 300 flyers. And then my fiance and I, we just drove around like the estate, and then I'll get off the car and I'll put the flyers in the houses. And so on the flyers, we would then have a QR code where we'll bring them into a special registration form. So this way I would be able to track conversions from the flyers.
Yeah.
If I remember, the conversion rate was so bad. I think it was less than 1%.
Oh.
Yeah, it was so bad. And I just remember the experience of, we went to an estate really near our house, so we didn't actually drive, and it started raining. So the flyers were getting wet, and I'm like, protect the flyers, please. So we were drenched, and then we put the flyers into this plastic bag, and we're just walking along the road. But it was so fun. I wouldn't trade the experience for anything. It's still something that I remember up till today. Yeah.
Right, but I guess like what you mentioned, starting a business at the start requires a lot of effort because you have to build up, let's say, trust in people that are going to invest in your business or are going to use your products or services. Do you think that the hard work that you guys put in at the start set off the groundwork for what you guys are today? So I know, Denise, like your slots are like filled out, right?
Yes.
Like, yeah.
can't
Do you
take on
think
anymore.
distributing those flyers?
No. The flyers did not work at all. But what worked was investing time into the classes, because there's, after all, what the business is about. So I think I did put a lot of effort into the classes, into designing class plans, class materials, and self-study worksheets, because sometimes the students just need that revision, kind of self-help, right?
Yeah.
So that took up a lot of my time at the start, and I remember working on these documents, and then I was just asking myself, like, is it worth the time? Because it is so taxing on your time. Because I cover a couple of levels, so I was doing like 100 over chapters a week, and it was just so tiring. But it works now, because now our parents. Right now, I'm not running such a strong recruitment campaign, simply because I don't need to. We're just so full, and we get most of our students via referrals at this point in time. So our parents are the ones pulling people in.
It's true. It's true. Even for me, okay, I didn't do much marketing actually. I don't even like market that much, but my clients or my customers are usually people who I know. Like even if I met them once, they will they will tell their friends and all that, and we are doing good just from that. And I'm at the stage where I cannot, if I market and like do it widespread, I cannot handle the orders anymore. So I think the effort was worth it. But you have to think, in business, you have to think of how to make things better all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for me, I learned it the hard way as well, because back then I wasn't really good at flowers. And I had to go for different classes. And I realized as well, like over time, how come these flowers does not last more than the others? Which one is able to actually withstand heat, for example, in Singapore's weather, because not everyone switch on the aircon at home all the time.
Yeah.
What do I recommend them? And then it takes time to process and be better, I feel.
Yeah.
And that is something that you have to constantly do in business.
Right. I think that's probably one of the biggest differences, being your own boss and also working under someone, which is having to constantly come up with new and innovative business ideas to keep yourself relevant, right, in the market. Like for me, honestly, when like compared to myself 1 year ago, I'm still doing the same thing. I'm still doing what my bosses are telling me to do, in a way. But for you guys are your own bosses, right? So what are some sources of inspiration, or how do you guys come up with constant new ideas to keep yourself relevant and also keep your business sustaining?
We're still very young. I think we're about 1 to 2 years old only. So at this point in time, I have to admit that I haven't really innovated very much. The goals that I set out for myself at the start are the exact same goals that I'm still trying to hit. I'm still trying to create like an app. It's not there yet, so I'm still working on that. But I hope that once that's off my checklist, then I'll have the luxury and the privilege of thinking about this problem and how to innovate.
For me, I think my customers are very open, because I told you before that some of my customers are people who I know. They're always asking me, hey, do you have new designs? Do you have this? Do you have that? And that forces me to be out of my comfort zone and actually to innovate in ways that I can to help them or achieve whatever they want it to be. And I think I'm really appreciative of that, because they have trust in me to allow that growth in me. Yeah. So supportive people around you, I guess, helps.
Got it. And I think also like one of the biggest challenges, in my opinion, right, is keeping your current customers or your current, let's say, parents or children,
Students.
Children.
to believe in your product or your service. So is there, how do you build this lasting relationship with your customers? More like customer retention in a way.
For us, it's pretty easy. If the classes are effective, you can tell from the grades. Yeah. So I think this year, a class of 10 or about 90% was getting an A. So that's the statistics that parents
I would want to go to your tuition as well.
then that's it. Grades are one thing, right? The other thing they're looking at is the classroom experience. So is it fun? Do you get their attention? And that's when we try and create very fun classroom plans. We try and give them food in class. So they come after school, they come at like 5, 6 p.m. They don't have time to eat because they have to rush down. So we buy dinners for them. We take them out during the holidays, or like so recently my friend had a birthday party at Time Zone, and then I got all of these like Time Zone cards. It was like $100 each, and then I just give them out to my students. I think things like that motivate them, and it keeps them coming back also.
That's true, and that's
Yeah.
very innovative because arcade. I would love that. Yeah.
I would love it now, even though
Yeah,
I'm not
me
your
too.
student.
What do we get as well?
If I have leftovers, I'll bring it the next time.
For me, it's definitely occasions, because I'm very appreciative to my customers, because, like, for example, Chen Hao, actually, he always supports my business. For example, Valentine's Day every year, like from the
Yes,
start.
it's true. He has sent the talents flowers from your shop.
Yeah. And I am very appreciative because when I started, it was so small. So I always, for example, like Christmas or anything, on Happy Chinese New Year, I will send like, hey, this is a free gift, like free dried flowers for you guys. Hope you guys like it. And I will always send them like a note, because in flower industry, I always believe in keeping things personal, like to your customers and to your friends, and telling them, hey, thank you so much for all supporting me all this time. I really appreciate you supporting like my dream, a small business, and from being a really good friend, because the thing is that if you're an entrepreneur, there's so many people out there, there's so many competitors. Why would your friend want to believe in you? Like, there's so many like better businesses out there. But for all these small things, it actually motivates me to be better. Yeah.
That's so sweet.
so sweet.
Yeah.
And do you find that most of your customers now are recurring ones,
Yes.
right?
There.
Got it.
So I'm thankful for that as well. Yeah.
Okay, so I guess now let's talk about the hardships. And I think we probably talked about this the last time we did an episode as well. But maybe some things has changed since then. So everything comes with its ups and downs, right?
Yeah.
What are some of the biggest hardships that you have faced as a female boss in today's generation?
You want to go first?
Too many?
Where do we start?
So I'm in the middle of renovation again. Oh gosh, dealing with renovation, right? You work with a lot of, the construction and renovation industry, it's really male dominated. So when they speak with me, and it's not just that I'm a female, it might not just be that I'm a female, it's that I'm really small and my voice is really soft. So when I'm trying to tell them what to do, sometimes they kind of just talk over me, or I don't think there is... I'm not sure. I find it a bit difficult to navigate these kinds of conversations.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's purely because I'm female. I think it's a lot of my characteristics put together that makes it difficult for me to do this.
But still, I believe it's like a stereotype, right? Like, if only the other person can see you as, like, look past like your height, your voice and stuff like that. Everyone deserves to be treated equally, I believe.
No, they are doing honest work.
Yeah.
They are good workers, but it's just so funny because every time I get a new a team to come in and take a look, the first thing that they ask me is, "How old are you? Like, are you still in school?"
Oh yeah, you do look like you're really young.
Which can be a good thing sometimes.
Yes. Not complaining. I'm happy.
Oh,
What
we're
about
done?
you?
No, okay, for me, I think I'm having a bit of a trouble adjusting to expansions because right now we are expanding my business, and it's hard for me to know who to trust, to have an employee and seeing like, oh, can you do it or not? Even the problem is that if it doesn't fit you, then you have to keep changing, and then this will be like time delays, and then your shop will be opening will be like delayed as well. And this is the kind of things, the small things like pushes so much, like the process. I don't like that.
Right. I think like when I'm just thinking about hardships of being a female boss, right? One thing that comes to mind is having people under you and knowing that you're responsible for their families, or like because you're literally like providing them their salary, right?
Yeah.
And it's something that I have not personally experienced because I have never become a boss before, or not yet at least. So do you think it's difficult, like, having to manage people as well as making sure that they deliver the work that you expect them to do?
Oh, it's so difficult.
I agree.
It's so difficult. I have people in my team who are older than me. So for me to sometimes tell them off in a nice way, I'm very nice.
Yeah.
But sometimes for me to tell them off, for me to tell them they're not doing this right, I do feel bad about it. Sometimes I feel like, oh, maybe I'm not in the position because they have had more experience after all, and I'm younger than them. Sometimes I think it's a little bit of imposter syndrome. I'm always doubting myself, and I'm always wondering, oh, maybe they do, maybe they know what they're talking about. Maybe it would be an idea that really makes sense. Yeah. So for me, I do struggle with that even up till now.
Same here. Sometimes it's so hard to like manage people. I think like managing employees is something that you don't learn as well. You have to go with the flow, and different people have different personality.
Yeah.
So you have to wonder like, how do I motivate this person? How do I become strict person, like a strict boss, and make sure they don't do anything wrong? Like, do I scold you, or am I the kind of person where I want to motivate you? But in general, I feel that knowing that I'm actually paying their salary and they are depending on me, it motivates me to do better.
Right.
Yeah.
There is the stress. I have
There
spoken about this
is.
with my fiance before. Like,
Yeah.
let's say next year, I feel like, oh, I had enough and I want to close down. No. In a hypothetical scenario,
You can
I
sell the
feel
business.
the stress. I feel like I cannot do it because of the team. I feel that even if I'm doing really well, I'm not willing to do it because I feel that they joined me when I was so small. That I want to continue to grow this. I want to continue to let them reap the benefits of really joining me when I was nothing.
Yeah, I know how you feel.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. When I listen to that, I'm also like, even though I don't have any experience. But I guess like another thing, right? Another hardship that perhaps I don't know if you guys face, but stereotypically, people believe that women are more emotionally driven with their business compared to men. What do you guys think about that?
I disagree. I think I'm generally a very laid back and a very chill person. I don't really care what's going on around me. I think I just care like okay, basically like what I said. Like I'll give myself like what's that word called? What's this thing called?
What thing?
This thing
What is
like check. What's it?
Checklist?
Check
Goals?
No, when you run and then there are check posts.
Oh.
Is that a term that we use usually?
No. Checkpoint. Checkpoint. Yes,
Okay,
checkpoint.
checkpoint. Yeah.
Posts. Checkpoints, right? So I give myself a deadline, like, okay, we need to do this by when. For example, next year, I want to start a coding class. So that's my timeline, December 2023. What was the question again? Am I emotionally driven? So in that sense, I think no. Can I talk about the whole TikTok thing? Should I?
Go ahead.
I think you can go, and then if not, they can cut
They
it.
can always cut it.
Okay. But I think that in such a competitive industry, there is bound to be people who get
Emotionally driven.
driven and threatened,
Right.
and when that happens, ugly things happen also.
Yeah.
So we never know what will happen in the industry. I think ugly and dirty practices happen in any kind of industry.
Yeah.
But when you are in a competitive one, I think you must be prepared to face that kind of pain of dealing with it.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's something that I am a very emotional person. I don't think I'm a jealous person. I'm pretty happy for all of my friends when they do well. Actually, no, I am very happy for all my friends when they do well. And I always celebrate all of their achievements. And I don't think I've ever thought to myself, oh, I wish I could be like this person.
Yeah.
So I feel that I'm quite laid back in that sense. But I am also very emotional that when something happens or when someone attacks me or my business, it does get to me very personally.
Yeah.
And I do get very, very affected by that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think that applies to both women and men. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, if someone has attacked you and what you stand for in your business, you would definitely stand up for it, right? Because you believe in what you believe in.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure men feel betrayed too, like if someone or like they do get affected.
Yeah.
Mm.
But the thing was, so when this whole thing happened, and if you know, you know. So my fiance and I, we approached it very differently. He was very level-headed. He was like, okay, this is what we need to do now. And for me, I just felt for I think a day, I just felt a bit lost. And I felt a bit like uncertain about what I was supposed to do. I think I felt a lot of fear at that point in time. And yeah, but for him, it was like, okay, all systems go. This is what we need to do now. Yeah.
For me, I think I'm able to switch between both, like emotional side. Like I might take things personally, but after that, after a while, when I'm done being sad or like being personally attacked, I feel like okay, time to put all the emotions aside. Time to see how are we gonna deal with this and solve this problem, and how we can do better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same. It took me one day. Next day I woke up, I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I gotta get my head back in the correct space.
Correct.
Yeah, but I also do see merit of, putting emotions in your business. It drives that passion, and I guess it can be a motivating factor to do well, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And I think your customers, your customer database, parents and students, they can see it as well. I think there is a very big difference when you approach something with so much passion and energy.
Yes, definitely. When it's not like force. Get what I mean?
Yeah. I guess now let's talk about being your own boss and being in control and having burden, like this big burden of the entire company is just like on your shoulders, right? How do you deal with that stress? I wouldn't be able to deal with it like at this moment in time.
For me, I'm just okay. If it fails, then let's just open a one and do it again. We start again. Why not? What do you
Give me
want me
your
to do?
mindset.
There's nothing I can do.
No, but it's a really good mindset to have, because I think I would beat myself up over it, because I take things very hard on myself.
Oh, right.
So I wish I could be a bit like you.
I'm too like minded. Is it no like hated? No. What is it when you just don't take it personally? You just make
Don't
sometimes.
care.
Yeah, sometimes you just make bad decisions, I guess, and you should accept it. We're not perfect.
Yeah.
But I know, I can see from her face. She's the kind that I want, if I a goal, I want it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a good habit to have. Yeah, I when I see my students behaving like that, I always tell them to take it easy. Yeah. And yet here I am.
And there you are.
You gotta tell that to yourself as well.
Yeah. But it's really bad, because before I became my own boss, right? So when I was working in corporate, at least you have a 9 to 5 Monday to Fridays, and then Saturday and Sunday you can go out, kind of relax, kind of log off.
Yeah.
But when you're managing your own thing, you don't really have the luxury to do that. It is forever on your mind. Yeah. And in education, weekends are the best time to have classes. So now my weekends are packed. My fiance's Monday to Fridays are packed. We barely get to spend any time together. Yeah, but we're on the we're on the same train of thought that we're still young, we have the energy to do this.
Yes.
So maybe in a couple of years' time, then we'll start to see how we can kind of shift things around. Yeah.
And I think it helps that both of you are very supportive of each other and also have like a end goal. I would
Yeah.
I
say
would
end goal
want
in
like a
mind.
relationship like that as well.
Okay, so I guess just to wrap it up, there might be people that are listening who want to start their own business and be their own boss as well. So can you offer any advice to these people?
Well, just do it. If you fail, then just try again. Or
love
start
it.
just start small, I guess, and like bounce the idea with a few people maybe and see what they think about it. Because sometimes just quote some data or like survey people.
I
See if
agree.
there's a need in the market or not.
Yeah. Start small. Start with something that doesn't require that much capital,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can grow from there. And also be prepared that while you are very excited at the beginning, the excitement will wear off, and then the pain of it will come in. But I think the rewards are high as well.
Yeah.
Nice, well said. So that's it, guys, for today's episode. I hope that you enjoyed this episode where we talked about running a business. And it's also very important to know that with every business, there's definitely a risk. But don't let that stop you from chasing your dreams and being your own boss like these two ladies here. So that's it, guys, for today's episode. We hope that you enjoyed this episode where we talked about running a business. So we'll see you guys for the next one. Bye.